You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hello.
Okay.
Hi.
He just wants you to know that Daniel Tiger had one handful of something. We're going to get multiple plot summaries happening during this, just in case anyone needed to have a little bit. I'm sure Daniel Tiger would tell everybody on the Enterprise crew they need to share better.
Look, kid, we don't interrupt your podcast about nonsense. Don't interrupt. So this is going to be our follow-up to when we wrap this show up.
We could do an away mission episode
Daniel
with Daniel Tiger. Yeah.
Hi, we are Enterprise Splaining, the podcast where we explain Star Trek Enterprise to each other and to you. I'm Maria, and these are my co-hosts Jamie.
Hi.
And Bill.
Hello.
And today we have a very special guest, Mika. Mika, welcome to Enterprise Splaining. Please tell us who you are and why you are here.
Hi, nice to be here. I'm a geophysicist and disaster researcher, so I spend a lot of time thinking about how things go terribly, terribly wrong. I'm also a massive Star Trek junkie, but have not watched any since before the pandemic, small children, and extreme sleep deprivation. So I no longer remember anything.
That's how we like it.
And what is your experience with Enterprise? Have you seen any of it? Do you remember any of it?
I saw it when it first aired, and I don't remember what era of my life that was. So I can't even pinpoint how old I was. Yeah, early 2000s. So I guess I was in high school, which again is a very, very long time ago. My only other direct connection to Star Trek is that, so one of my jobs is I'm a scientist for fiction and help writers come up with more interesting stories. So I used to work a little bit for Star Trek Discovery, coming up with their geoscience. But again, I don't remember. This is one of those things that I'm like, I know I did this. If only I had sleep, maybe I would have memories.
Oh my goodness.
I love that everyone we've ever, almost every single person we've ever talked to who was like, yeah, I watched Enterprise when it was first on TV. Never watched again. Does not remember. When you talk to people about TNG, they're like, oh yeah, I watched it when it was originally on, and then I've seen it 100 times since then. And no, not Enterprise.
No,
Enterprise
I
is
think it's the one with the puppy dog. I'm pretty sure it's the one with the puppy who was super cute.
That is correct.
But I don't actually know if the puppy was a puppy or just a really cute, tiny adult breed.
It was a tiny adult.
But so cute.
Emotionally, it was a puppy.
Growing up, every time there was a new iteration of Trek, like DS9 or Voyager, I knew people in my lives who were like, okay, this is going to be my Star Trek. I am going to be the 1.0 fan of this, and I'm going to know everything about this show. I have never met anyone who has done that for Enterprise. I'm sure they're out there. I'm not negating your existence. I have never heard or met any of you.
All right. Well, let's get into it. Because today we are going to be talking about the Star Trek Enterprise episode, The Breach. However, I am the only person here who's actually watched it. So it's my job to explain to the others what happened on this episode. But before we get to that, just a reminder, we have merch. Check out the link in the show notes to go to our TeePublic store, where you can find Enterprise Splaining t-shirts and Porthos Appreciation Society t-shirts that are absolutely adorable. Computer, tell us about the episode we are talking about this week.
The Breach. When militants take over a world, the Enterprise crew move to evacuate Denobulan geologists that are deep underground. Meanwhile, Phlox has to save a dying Antaran that refuses treatment due to the history of their races.
And now it's time for Two Truths and a Lie. I'm going to tell you 2 truths and a lie about this episode, and you guys get to guess which is the lie. Are we ready?
I'm so excited.
Number 1, Denobulans can climb walls like Spider-Man.
Wait, no. That's a terrifying thought.
Number 2, Phlox gives Hoshi a tribble.
Mika, do you remember who Phlox is?
No, I do not. And I don't remember any of them. And I'm like, maybe I'll pick it up from context cues. Okay. One of them was the scientist, maybe.
Phlox is the doctor, and he is a Denobulan.
Doctor/vet. He's a vet.
He's a vet.
Let's be real.
Psychiatrist.
I can believe that he climbs up walls. That seems, yeah. And we're in the pre-Tribble being terrible era. So could be that we had a tribble.
He gives who a tribble? Hoshi?
And she names it Tribolo.
And he also is, because he's more of a vet, he has a lot of strange animals around.
Mm-hmm.
But
in his lab.
He has
if
a
we
whole
ran
menagerie.
into tribbles in Enterprise, surely we would have remembered that they were a bad idea to have on board by the time
You would think.
Kirk
We
found
got
them.
a lot of stuff to keep track of.
You know, nobody reads mission logs.
Okay, and number 3, we learn what the Denobulan Science Academy thinks about time travel.
I like that it's vague enough to not know whether or not it approves, disapproves, disbelieves.
Because there's a little bit of a running joke on this show because in spite of the fact that they have seen and experienced time travel multiple times,
times.
The Vulcan on the ship, T'Pol, insists that the Vulcan Science Academy has determined that time travel is impossible, and that's all she says.
Yes, because denying reality and observational
It's a call
fact
and response with her.
That definitely sounds like a Vulcan. Yeah.
It's core science processes. You should definitely stick to your belief system in the face of all observational evidence instead of revising your theories to match reality.
That's exactly right. Time travel is an emotion.
That's 100% how science works.
This is a woman who has met a time traveler and they found a 900 years in the future ship that she has seen.
But did they provoke an emotional response? Because, you know, if she romantically got involved with the time traveler, I can see why she'd be in denial about it.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to go with the Tribble one.
Okay.
I feel like we're not getting Tribbles on this show.
All right.
Okay.
Bill?
I'm going to go with the Denobulan Science Academy one because I feel like that would have come up. Like, I feel like in conversation with T'Pol, like, he would have with that one. I feel like that one would have come up.
Okay. And Mika, I know you're not as familiar with the show, but do you have a guess?
My guess is the Science Academy has not voted in on this or is going to the exact contrary of the Vulcan Science Academy. Just
All right.
some inherent contrariness.
But now I just realized that mine means that then, like, Denobulans can climb up walls like Spider-Man, but okay, you know what? Like, we're just gonna go with it.
I totally believe that. Like, it seems like a handy skill if you're going to go into, like, extraterrestrial vet trade to have a very fast escape route at all times.
That's a good point. Well,
That was my second choice because I feel like that would have come up. Like, people would have come into the med lab looking for him and he's just, like, dropping from the ceiling behind him.
like a Suliban.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't do that.
All right. Well, while you ponder what this week's lie may be, let's hear about one of our sister podcasts on the ESO network.
Looking for your next horror obsession? Check out Earth Station Boo. So if you live for the jump scares, creepy creatures, horror deep dives from the cult classics to modern nightmares, chatting about movies, shows, and everything that makes horror, hauntingly fun, then you found your people. The Haunted Hosts are all about laughs, scares, and killer conversations every week. So grab your flashlight and join us. It's always spooky season here. Earth Station Boo. Stream it now wherever you get your screams.
We open in sick bay, where Phlox is feeding his menagerie. Hoshi walks in as Phlox is opening up a bin, and she looks curiously inside as he pulls out a tribble.
No!
Yeah, boy.
I can't believe I lost already.
3 sentences in. She asks what it is, and he tells her it's a tribble and hands it to her. He says it was very difficult to acquire because they're outlawed on most worlds. And
I wonder why.
Oh, classic Phlox. What messed up thing is Phlox going to do with a tribble?
Hoshi asks why, and Phlox explains that they breed quite prodigiously.
Ah.
He gently
How did this knowledge get lost?
I don't know.
Nobody
But he
reads
gently
ship logs.
Yes. Well, it's like, this is just basic information that Phlox knows because he's a vet. Like, he might not even have put it in a ship's log because he gently takes the tribble back from her and throws it into a tank where there's a squealing and the plants in the cage shake.
Oh my
and there are
God.
Nom 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 noises and then silence.
Well, that doesn't make sense because you would think that if he was going to do that, he would keep the tribble around until he had more tribbles to do with.
I don't know. Hoshi looks shocked. And Phlox happily explained that the only thing that keeps their population in check on their homeworld is the abundance of reptiles. Hoshi is still
Amazing.
staring at the cage in horror, but she snaps out of it, remembering that she came by to give Phlox an urgent transmission from the Denobulan Science Academy.
Opens it up and it's just a telegram that
Time
says
travel
time
is
travel
real."
does not it's real. Stop.
Phlox takes the pad and reads the message and suddenly looks very serious and worried. And theme song, which brings us to Jamie's Diane Warren update of the week. But before we get to that, Mika, do you remember the theme song to Enterprise and what was your opinion of it?
I remembered that it was very, like, ballad pop.
Yep.
It was not
inexplicable
Celine Dion,
lyrics.
but it was in the same genre of it. Maybe Your Heart Could Go On. I don't know. I'm terrible at
Oh, we gotta watch it.
remembering
Let's watch
music.
it right now.
I will warn you that even if you play it, I will forget it within about 30 seconds. I can't actually tune musical instruments because I have no auditory memory. It's an amazing superpower as a parent. I can't get earworms, but it means that I only have like the vaguest general vibe of things.
Yeah, I feel like you basically have it, though.
Yeah.
So are you familiar with Diane Warren at all? Do you know who she
No.
is? So she's the songwriter who wrote that song. And she's written a whole bunch of other music that you would definitely have heard of. If I Could Turn Back Time.
Okay.
What's the Armageddon song?
The
I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. Just, and like,
Unbreak My Heart.
yeah, Unbreak My Heart. So many songs that are all also just like kind of cheesy ballads.
Yep.
But I am kind of obsessed with her. So we do this little segment every week where I just get to talk about what she's up to. This week is a big week for her because she just got a Grammy nomination. Her 16th Grammy nomination.
She's gotten a Grammy? I know she hasn't gotten an Oscar.
She
but
has one Grammy win, and it was 29 years ago.
Wow.
She won Best Song for a Motion Picture for the Celine Dion song Because You Loved Me. So yeah, it's been a long time since she's won. That's her only Grammy win, but this is her 16th nomination.
You might say it's been a long road.
No, we might not. Stop it.
Her last nomination was 8 years ago, so it's even been a long time since her last nomination. It was in 2017, so it's been a long time. So this is exciting for her. This nomination is not for a song. It's for the documentary that is about her life.
The one that you saw?
Yeah, the one that I
was
saw.
on Masterclass or whatever.
Yes.
She has a Grammy nomination for a documentary?
Yeah, so
Like
there's a
soundtrack?
category for Best Music Film, which is for performance films or documentaries.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it.
Oh,
And
okay.
I was surprised that it goes to her because it's just about her. She didn't like make
Yeah.
it. But when I was looking at it, all of these nominations are for the artist that the documentary or musical film is about.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is weird.
Well, I suppose there is another award specifically for filmmakers, so that makes sense.
Right. Right.
She is up against Devo, John Williams,
Oh,
Oh, no.
Oh, was it the John Williams doc that's on HBO that everybody loved?
Probably.
Oh, she is going to get squashed.
Pharrell Williams,
Oh.
and Ray. And just Ray, R-A-Y-E, the British R&B artist, not Addison Rae, not Tate McRae, not Jensen McRae, not Carly Rae Jepsen,
Not Ray Charles.
not Ray Charles was my next one, not Sugar Ray,
Not Billy Ray Cyrus.
not Billy Ray Cyrus. I missed that one. God damn it. Not Rage Against the Machine. That's all I have. No, just Ray, R-A-Y-E, is also up. So good luck to Diane Warren.
All right. Thanks, Jamie. So now that the theme song is complete, let's get into this episode. We are in the conference room of exposition. Travis, Tripp, Malcolm, Archer, and Phlox are talking about caves. Yes, in spite of the fact that I switched episodes with Bill this week, I got a cave episode. I'm back on cave timing, guys.
I can't wait to watch this episode, and there's no scene where they're talking about caves when I watch it.
I almost put that as one of my truths in a lie, but then I was like, well, they know it's about geology, so they're gonna.
So, Mika, every single cave episode has somehow been a Maria episode. And it doesn't matter if we swap episodes, if it's not even her regular, it doesn't
Always get the
matter.
cave.
Maria gets every cave.
So
You
what is
are
what is the
splunking.
context?
Okay, so some Denobulan scientists were mapping out a cave system on a planet called Xanthoras. And this cave system is huge, with caverns going on for about 50 kilometers, and that's just what they've mapped.
Wow.
The cave system is known for its mineral formations, and the scientists have been underground in the caves for 6 months. But the Denobulan Science Academy lost contact with them 3 weeks ago. The planet's government is very unstable, and in the last couple of weeks, a militant faction has taken control and is kicking all outsiders off the planet.
And T'Pol explains that the Vulcans have had to infiltrate this government in order to root out subversive elements.
Anyone who fails to comply will face imprisonment or worse. The Denobulans can't get there fast enough, so they're asking if Enterprise can go pick the scientists up. The problem is they have to find them first. So Archer pulls up a screen showing just a bunch of like windy tunnels and caverns.
Oh, sure.
And because Travis has a bunch of climbing experience, he's going to take the lead for this and help Trip and Malcolm, who have much less climbing experience.
Sorry. Mika, you need to understand, Travis is the youngest person on the ship, it seems like, and he grew up on a cargo ship until he, I guess, went to Starfleet Academy. And yet somehow his big hobby is being a mountain climber.
Well, yes, you have to climb the stacks of boxes. I understand this. I have 2 small children in an apartment. They are excellent climbers. I had to take down my shelving units.
In the first episode, he specifically complained that the gravity on Enterprise felt too heavy because it was Earth normal as opposed to what he grew up on in a cargo ship.
But
Well, that would make you an excellent climber because you have fewer things pulling you down. This makes perfectly logical sense.
That
Climbing
is
is
true.
not a very good hobby for if you wish to live a long time. So to do it on a cargo ship with low gravity is definitely a way to be like a climber
Well,
into adulthood instead of plummeting to your death on some alien world.
For
This
all-
is completely
For all
logical.
we know, this may be his hobby. He's just not good at it because, as we know on Ryza, he fell.
yeah, we've only seen him
was
climb
injured.
once,
Yeah.
and he got injured. So
Maybe,
You don't
maybe
need to
he
be
thinks
good at every
floating in
hobby.
0G is mountain climbing. Oh, I can do this. You just push off and go to the top.
It's important not to monetize every hobby. Like, if you do, you end up destroying your love for it. It's also, let's not gatekeep that you need to have a specific level of ability to have hobbies.
That's what happened to Travis on Ryza. Is he was standing at the bottom of the mountain and just jumped up and fell.
Yeah, again, low gravity climber. He's used to that working. I'm thinking that it's less mountain climbing and more mountains of cargo climbing.
Well, Trip says that he's sure Travis is an excellent teacher. And Archer tells him to go get their gear together, and the 3 boys leave. So Enterprise is at the planet. The guys are prepping the shuttle pod. Travis is going through a checklist. Guys, they're in desert gear. I'm so excited. They're in desert gear. I love desert gear.
wait, is Travis also? Have we seen Travis in desert gear?
No.
Yeah.
No, we did. No, we did when they were on
on the
The
Planet?
minor
A-Team
calling.
episode.
Yeah.
He had his guns. He specifically had like a tank top on, so you could see his guns really well.
Well, they're in the standard long sleeved with khakis.
Oh wait, they're not manual. They're not mountain climbing. They're cave exploring. These
Splunking,
are
that's splunking.
fundamentally opposite
They're
concepts.
spelunking.
Yeah, no, spelunking. Yeah, it involves
Spelunking. It's the same concept.
One is up, one is down. I'm sorry.
But even if you're going down, you got to come back up eventually.
One is outside the mountain and one is inside the mountain.
I will say
Must
spelunking
come
has a much
down.
higher death rate. Like the whole getting squished and stuck thing, the whole like instead of the vast open spaces, it's the small cramped spaces where time moves more slowly. Overall, it's a lot more liquidy. And the type of rockfall you have to worry about is significantly different on a mountainside and in a cave.
Yep. Keep all of that in mind.
Feel a lot better about having a friend be a mountain climber than being a splunker,
Spelunker,
honestly.
yeah. So they are making sure they have everything they need. They've got all of their climbing gear, ration packs for a week, 50 meters of flex cable, waste disposal units. Trip picks up a bag and looks at it curiously, asking what it's for, and Travis explains that you take out everything you bring in. Trip and Malcolm look uncomfortable, of course.
I feel like this should not be a new concept if you live on a spaceship where yesterday's coffee is tomorrow's coffee.
Right.
That's a fundamental aspect of living in space. It is the ultimate reduce, reuse, recycle.
Having to actually carry it, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
But again, okay, so we're not that far off from the Apollo missions where they had like floating turds through space. The most core and essential trait of any astronaut is being able to be a plumber and deal with all of the things floating around and liquid management and all that. So at least having gravity should make this a much more pleasant experience.
Malcolm didn't know that he was supposed to relieve himself in his EV suit in one of these episodes. So does Travis do the dog owner thing where he takes the bag and just ties it into Trip's collar so that he has it around when he needs it?
Anyway, as we are learning from the credits that this episode was directed by Robert Duncan McNeil, Tom Paris from Voyager, Archer walks in and he says that they got in touch with the Xanthoran government. They have to get the scientists out in 3 days and 3 nights. No.
And
I did.
nice,
I put it in my script.
high five.
After that, the military will start picking up off-worlders and imprisoning them. Archer tells them if they have not found him in a day and a half, they should turn around and head back.
Okay.
The boys leave. Archer goes back to the bridge where T'Pol tells him that one of the ships that's leaving the planet, because there's this mass exodus of ships leaving the planet at the moment, one of them has declared an emergency. Their reactor casings have ruptured, and the captain is asking for permission to go back down to the planet. Hoshi puts the whole conversation on speaker. We hear the captain of the ship saying that several compartments have flooded with radiation, and she has injured passengers and crew. And we hear another voice, the Xanthoran on the planet, denying her request and telling her that if they turn around, they'll be fired upon. The captain sounds desperate, and Archer tells Hoshi to get her on the comms, and they head towards the ship to help them. In the next scene, we see that a small ship has docked with the Enterprise. Archer goes into sickbay where Phlox is running around kind of triaging a bunch of different aliens who are injured. It isn't just one species. It looks like this was a transport, so there's a variety of aliens on it. Another stretcher comes in with an unconscious alien on it, and Phlox looks at the alien in shock, and he goes silent for a minute. But he eventually snaps out of it and tells him to get him into the imaging chamber. Which, by the way, have we heard about the imaging chamber before? Isn't that a Quantum Leap reference?
I thought it was the MRI thing. That
it is, but I just thought it was
I don't think
funny
we've
that
ever heard it called
the imaging chamber. I just thought that was fun. Anyway.
Wait, do you recognize the type of alien? Is it like
Nope.
Known? Okay.
Nope, we have no idea who he is. So we do get a close-up of the alien's face as they are taking him over to the imaging chamber, and they pan back over to Phlox, who is just standing there staring at him. The alien is not Denobulan. He sort of looks like more or less like a generic bumpy head alien.
Okay.
So on the planet, Trip, Travis, and Malcolm are at the mouth of the cave. Malcolm scans and says he's only picking up their own biosigns, no Denobulans. And he and Trip are not sure that this is the right direction, but Travis steps up, walks right past them into the cave. He says it's the closest entrance to their campsite, and he's betting they came this way. And he confidently takes the lead, and the others follow. We're in the cave, you guys. It's my comfort zone.
I'm glad that they're bringing Travis along and letting him do things.
Yep. So Travis is in the lead.
Nice to see them let someone who is not one of the white men on the show do things.
Yep. So Travis is in the lead. He's calling out instructions, telling them to watch their footing and so on. They have backpacks, lots of climbing gear, and lights that are attached to poles on their backpacks.
They don't have the little miner helmets with
They don't. No.
Aww.
No. Trip says the last cave he was in had handrails and a gift shop and snack bar. Bro, you have been in half a dozen caves since season 1. I know because I did the explainer for every one of them.
Maybe he's gone on vacation since then. Maybe one of the off-screen ones was going to Carlsbad Canyons.
Yeah.
Well, Malcolm finds an opening that they go through. They end up on this ledge that's really only a few feet wide, and off of the cliff is basically pitch black. Malcolm snarkily asks if Travis still bets they came this way, and Travis says, yes, sir. Trip and Malcolm are clearly nervous about scaling this cliff, but Travis is cool as a cucumber. He tells him not to worry, he'll go first, and they start clipping in carabiners into the rocks and attaching ropes and harnesses. I know nothing about climbing, so I apologize if I'm using the wrong terminology for any of this. Travis gets his gear on and just happily bounces right off the ledge, starts rappelling down. Malcolm looks worried, but he starts to follow.
I just gotta know, do they check each other's gear first? Do they do like little safety check knots? Because I feel like skipping basic safety is really in the core and essence of Star Trek.
Oh, that's de rigueur for this crew.
Travis does not. I think maybe Trip and Malcolm check each other, possibly, but they're the ones who are not the experts, so that you're right. It makes no sense.
Well, and the experts are renowned for being the ones to forget and accidentally do like a slip knot.
Right. So we are bouncing back between what's going on in the Enterprise and what's going on in the caves.
Oh, we have a B plot.
We have a B plot, my friends.
Wow.
So, back in sick bay, Archer's checking in with Phlox, who tells him that 2 of the patients are doing well, but the 3rd had more extensive injuries. His body absorbed a heavy dose of radiation. Phlox has stabilized him, but he will need intracellular regeneration. Archer asks what his chances are, and Phlox says it's a complex procedure, but he thinks the odds are in his favor. It shouldn't be a problem. But just as he says this, the alien wakes up, and he looks panicky. He asks where he is. Archer tells him he's safe and on his ship. And as he's explaining what happens, Phlox walks up, and the alien immediately reacts and says, "What's he doing here?" Archer looks confused. He tells him he's the doctor, and the alien tells him to keep Phlox away from him. Archer says he needs Phlox's help, but the alien says he'd rather die than be treated by him. And
so these
Archer looks
species are probably like at war or
confusedly at
something.
Phlox, and Phlox looks guilty as we go into commercial.
So now I'm wondering, like, is this a species on species genocide issue, or is this personal, like, stolen X?
Well, my headcanon is that Phlox is on the ship because he's on the run for multiple criminal prosecutions on his home planet. So we'll see how this plays out.
Yours. Such a good theory.
Everyone on this ship is, except for maybe Hoshi, is there because they're on the run from multiple.
And Hoshi is the only one who doesn't know this.
You've got to have somebody who can pass like the telepathy interviews, who believes their own lies. It's not a lie if you believe it in your heart and soul. You're just misinformed.
Maria, when there's all these aliens in sickbay that Phlox is having to treat, do we see anyone helping?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. There's so many people helping.
Wait,
there's
really?
all crew members bringing people
Because that
in,
would make sense. But in the past, we've never seen any nurses, and it's weird.
Sorry, I cut that. They're not necessarily, they're in Enterprise uniform, so it's hard to tell whether they're, and I didn't actually notice if they have what color their stripes are. But yeah, there are people bringing the patients in. He's telling different people to do different procedures and check things. So yeah, we're seeing.
So maybe there are some nurses. We've never seen any nurses before on this ship.
You've never had a disaster big enough to need triage.
Oh, we
previously, before it's always been like whatever.
It's hard to tell who's the walking wounded and who's actually helping.
Okay, so we come back from commercial. Phlox is explaining to Archer. He says the alien, whose name is Hudak, although I don't actually think we were ever told his name. I just looked it up because it's impossible to write this episode without knowing his name. Sure. Hudak is an Antaran, and Antarans are old enemies of the Denobulans. They've gone to war on several occasions, but it's been 300 years since their last conflict. But there's still a whole lot of bad blood between them. Archer thinks that if Phlox just explains that without the treatment, Hudak will die, Phlox says he doubts it. Hudak had insisted he leave the room. He didn't even want to be in the same room as Phlox. Archer suggests sedating him and doing the procedure anyway.
Wow.
Informed consent. It's the best.
Oh, wait. This conversation is incredible.
Oh, my God.
Phlox says he has to respect Hudak's wishes. The will of the patient is the cornerstone of Denobulan medicine. Archer says that surely Phlox believes that if you can help someone, you're ethically obliged to do so.
Even if they demand that you go away. This is welcome to Archerism 101.
Archer.
I'm sorry, have we forgotten the time that Phlox chose not to help a species because it would have killed a different species?
Oh, yeah, that.
Well, it wouldn't have killed the different species. It just might have prevented their natural development. It wasn't an either-or situation. He just decided,
he just made a decision. However, Phlox says that Hippocrates was not a Denobulan, which is a great line, but also that's not the Hippocratic Oath. The Hippocratic Oath does not say that you're ethically bound to help someone against their will.
But in current first aid practices, we do say that if somebody passes out unconscious, you have assumed consent to assist them.
Right.
But if they can be awake and refuse care, and that's what the whole, like, do not resuscitate orders and all that are about.
Exactly.
Not document if you don't want help. So clearly, to follow, like, basic Earth standards, they need this guy to be filling out do not resuscitate forms while, like, passed out in the med bay.
Okay, right. But what if he's
not passed
awake
he's
and
awake.
Clearly not giving consent, but then you make him unconscious before he can fill out anything else. And now who knows what he might want?
It's the Archer loophole.
It follows current what they teach in first aid classes. I hate that, but I don't know. I think that the knocking them unconscious might be the unethical part, not the treating them once they are.
Archer pulls out a cartoonishly large rubber mallet.
Come on.
Why don't you turn around for a second, Phlox, and we'll... Archer gonna arch.
Archer gonna arch. Anyway, Archer tells Phlox that he is on an Earth ship, and he won't let a man die if it can be prevented. And Phlox insists he can do nothing without the consent of the patient, and Archer orders him to do it.
Archer puts on surgical gloves and picks up a scalpel. What do I do? Let me at him.
How do you think Phlox reacts to Archer ordering him to do it?
He refuses.
That is correct. He flat out refuses. So back in the cave now, the boys are still rappelling down this extremely long shaft. Travis is kind of looking up, telling Trip to watch his footing, and just as Trip is acknowledging this, part of the wall kind of crumbles under his foot, and he loses his grip and kind of hangs by the safety rope for a second, but he managed to get his back to the wall and says he's fine. They continue down and come to a ledge. Travis tells the guys to take a break and he'll see what's down below. And he again leaps off the ledge, super confident. Malcolm just looks down at him and shakes his head. He's super impressed with him. So Travis, who's gone down ahead, points his light down to see what's down there, and it's just an endless shaft. There's no bottom in sight. But he slowly continues down, and up on the ledge where Malcolm and Trip are kind of taking a break, they notice something that's in a little hole at the side, and he picks it up, and it's a small box. He recognizes the writing on it as Denobulan, and it contains rock samples, so they are on the right track. Back in sickbay, Archer is talking to the Antaran. Hudak wants to return to his ship, but Archer explains that the ship was damaged and it'll be a few days before it's safe to go on board. He tells him that he was exposed to high levels of radiation and he needs treatment. Hudak says he would prefer to be treated by another doctor, but Archer says he won't survive more than 2 days without Phlox's treatment.
Yeah, and there are no other doctors on the Enterprise.
Hudak says, wait a minute, are you trying to tell me that you went on a mission into deep space with only one doctor aboard this ship? That's absurd.
Oh, also, I mean, I guess it makes sense, but I kind of was wondering why there wasn't a doctor on the other ship.
Right.
But it was a transport, so maybe not.
Right.
Or maybe they're unconscious or injured themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, always good when you have one medical personnel who gets injured.
They've only really established like 3 people were injured and 2 of them are fine. Like, there's nobody else in sickbay, so... But we don't hear about really any of that other crew at all. So Hudak says he'd prefer to be treated by another doctor. Archer says he won't survive more than 2 days without Phlox's treatment. He says, I understand that there's a troubled history between your peoples, but I can assure you that Phlox is an excellent doctor. And Hudak says it's a whole lot more than just troubled. He asks if Phlox told Archer that the Denobulan battle tactics resulted in 20 million Antaran casualties. Archer said he wasn't that specific. And Hudak says he's not surprised. The Denobulans are very successful at putting the past behind them. Archer looks troubled, but asks if he wants to be a casualty in a 300-year-old war. And he says that Phlox has been his chief medical officer for 2 years. He's an excellent doctor. And Hudak says he's probably a proficient surgeon, but he does not intend to find out. He says he is the first Antaran to even see a Denobulan in 6 generations.
Wow.
Archer said that if he would just spend some time with Phlox, it might change his perspective of them. And Hudak retorts that a few hours in an Antaran historical archive might change Archer's perspective. but Archer says he prefers to make his judgments based on first-hand experience. He says that one time in Africa, he saw this gazelle, but sorry. He attempts to give his standard rousing speech and asks him not to sacrifice his life based on preconceptions, but Hudak is unconvinced. In the next scene, Archer is asking Phlox why he never told him about any of this. And Phlox says it wasn't their proudest moment and that the Denobulans have worked to put it all behind them. Archer tells him that he's the first Denobulan that Hudak has ever met. And Phlox says that, similarly, Hudak is the first Antaran he's ever met. Archer says it seems strange that in 300 years, neither side has attempted to reconcile, and he wonders if the Denobulans put it behind them too quickly.
So Archer knows almost nothing about this. So,
Correct.
I don't, read a book first before giving your opinion.
Get a little bit more background. But Phlox starts to look angry. He says that from childhood, Antarans are taught to fear and revile Denobulans. Archer says that this is his chance to prove them wrong. And Phlox says he doubts that that's possible, but Archer tells him to give it a shot. He says he made some headway with his gazelle speech, but it's Phlox who will be holding the scalpel, so he's the one who has to convince Hudak to trust him. And Phlox asks if Archer expects him to earn his trust in less than 36 hours. And Archer gets mad. He says that he's just asking Phlox to try. He says that he understands that his ethics may keep him from performing the procedure, but there's nothing stopping him from talking to Hudak and trying to make things better. He says that he's a doctor and Hudak is his patient and he needs to find a way to help him.
This feels very un-Phlox-like, because Phlox does seem like somebody who would want to keep trying to convince him. So the fact that he's being avoidant is different than what we know about the character. Is all.
Yeah, it is clearly unusual behavior for Phlox through this episode. It's interesting. So back in the cave, the boys have come to a fork in the tunnel and are trying to decide which way to go. This time, Malcolm is confident. He points to the right-hand side tunnel and there are shiny crystals all around the mouth of the tunnel. And he says, if I were a geologist, that's the way I would go. Is that true?
Good point.
Geoscientists are at their heart ravens. We do like shiny. And crystals would be an indication that you had long, slow cooling. So you had fluids there, which does concentrate all the more unusual elements. So we go hunting for gold in quartz veins, which were cracks in the rock that had gushing water go through them. But caves form because of water? Quick check. Is this cave mostly kind of smooth or mostly kind of sharp and jagged?
Mostly kind of smooth.
So it's one that's formed by liquid in the first place? So it's gonna all be, it doesn't really matter where you go, I guess. And then the crystals, the shiny crystals, are they sharp and jagged or are they smooth?
They're sharp and jagged. They look like the geodes that you...
All right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So then we've got quartz. We've got quartz. Yay! That's okay. If you go outside and pick up a rock, you've just picked up some quartz. Congratulations. It's the most common...
Does this entire cave system look like it was put together maybe by a set director who was...
The cave actually...
Who's cave? I don't know.
Caves.
Are all these passageways slightly larger than human size?
That's right. That is correct, yes.
Well, you want that because otherwise you're going to have the little squeezy effect where you're trying to figure out, all right, do we send only men because then you can do the head shoulders thing? Or do we have one woman coming along who gets stuck in the hips, which is a whole awkward situation going on? Yeah, it would determine your away team if you had too many tight squeezy places. All right, so if you're getting sharp, jagged crystals, then that's going to be a fundamentally different formation process than the rest of the caves. It could be that those had formed from something else before, from a hot magma cooling slowly underground, and then you eroded the cave away to expose the crystals, so it would be different. But legitimately, a lot of geoscientists are at their core and heart ravens. Shiny things are cool. And crystals are time capsules. They give you samples of what happened in the past. All of geology is this badly recorded tape with horrible editing that took out huge chunks of it. Well, a crystal will give you the time that it took to form, what was going on at the time, So it can give you information about the temperature or the pressure or the composition. Like you can pull a lot of things apart. And if you're really lucky, maybe the crystal has other crystals inside of it that lasted from other things. So yeah, legit, they are fun. They are useful.
Well,
if I was a geologist, yeah, go for it.
Here's a thought.
Go for the shiny.
Caves, usually pretty dusty. Are there any footprints they could follow?
No, it's kind of dirt, so it doesn't. Yeah.
Wait. Now, dirt would actually bother me quite a bit in a cave.
I don't know. I guess it's maybe not dirt. I guess it's rock, but it's. I didn't really see.
Well, I'm just saying, is there any? And I think I can see. I think I can see where this is going. And obviously, this is Star Trek Enterprise. But like, just they found the sample case. I guess I'm just saying, you're looking for evidence of.
Right.
Which way they would have gone.
Are any of the crystals broken?
No.
Like. Because again, if you think that they're going to follow them,
but yeah, I didn't know. They didn't notice anything broken.
Yeah,
they
that's
just
the
noticed
important
that they
bit.
were there. Yeah. Okay, so they proceed down that tunnel, and they eventually come up on a very.
It's almost like they also don't really know what they're doing. They're just like, I don't know,
like,
shiny crystals. Let's go that way.
Very much what it felt like.
And you know what? Maybe.
Like, also, I have some critiques of the exploration team not leaving. Like, if you're going in a cave, you generally do have to be careful with, like, ropes and things like that, because getting entangled can be a whole death risk problem. But you leave markers so people can find you, because getting trapped in caves happens very frequently.
Right.
Like, this is a hobby where you do not go alone because you die alone.
Right.
Or
so you
so
should
that
leave
you can
big,
find
like,
your way
big
back.
arrows being like, we went this way. Just like lay down rocks in a row, scrape on the side. Cave environments are fragile. You can like crystallize in a whole arrow pointing which side you went on so that your rescuers can find you, because you will inevitably need a rescue.
Or if you need to go back at some point.
Find your way back.
Yeah, you do want to know it. I can see it getting very confusing. I've only done a tiny bit of spelunking, but I could see it being very confusing.
Well, they eventually come up on a very small ledge and a huge cliff on the side. Travis tells them to stay close to the wall, and they don't really have a choice, so they start to inch along the wall, single file sideways.
Yeah.
And Malcolm is first, then Trip, and Travis is bringing up the rear. Malcolm says it's getting steeper. And Travis says to wait and let him lock in. He's basically anchoring into the wall. He tells them to check their safety lines as he's doing that. And they're kind of at the precipice of where it starts to get a whole lot steeper. And Malcolm slowly inches along, but the ground crumbles under his feet and he just falls. Oops. And the safety unwinds, and Trip looks at it, and he gets pulled over too.
Wait, right after they just checked the safety?
Well, it saved them, right? Because Malcolm fell, he's fallen free on the safety, but he's pulling. They're all tied together, right? So Trip then goes down,
and he's like not holding a tool. Like when I used to do glacier work in the springtime, where you would have giant glacier. Deep crevasses you cannot see the bottom of that like go to your doom. You fall in that, you're just like under a glacier and drowned in the freezing cold dark. It's a terrible way to die. And then just enough snowpack to hide everything so you can't see where anything is. You're all tied together. And like you have out your line, but you also have out an ice hammer. So that if somebody starts to slide, the rest of the team can slam down and hammer in to be a break. So they're not helping each other here.
So
they're not doing
attached
any
to each
self-preservation or like we didn't safety check until we're about to plummet to our doom.
Malcolm and Trip have no idea. Like they just fall. There's nothing. Travis does try.
Nice.
To cut the rope.
Yeah.
That's also something you should definitely be prepared to do in a cave. Not normally to kill everybody else, but
Right. So
survival.
Travis does go down, and they all kind of basically fall off of this edge, and then there is the slide down the hill, bumping around. The anchor that Travis puts in flies out of the wall, so they just keep going. Travis is attempting to stop. He's trying to get a foothold on the walls. Malcolm just flailing and screaming. Like,
of course.
Flailing and screaming.
He's like, I don't have time to send letters to all my exes.
Did any of them at this point also realize this is probably not the path the others went on, because a whole scientific expedition carrying all their gear and everything like that would have already crumbled the path? Because, I mean, I definitely think falling to your doom would definitely be a time to be like, you are wrong!
Well, we haven't yet learned whether or not Denobulans can just free climb walls like spiders.
Oh, that's true. I like that you said spiders, man, instead of Spider-Man.
So one of the things I really like about doing science for fiction, because I've worked on a lot of shows now, one of the things I really like is being able to do a form of subversive education, that people will learn things from TV or from movies and just incorporate them into their lives. And it's not about like the facts. It's not about like the lithium crystals or anything like that. It's about things like the practice of science, or how do we do these particular activities. And this is even more true for things that we have less experience with. So an example would be the movie San Andreas gets the facts of the earthquake wrong. They steal a subduction zone earthquake that would happen more likely off the coast of Oregon, Washington, or British Columbia, or Alaska, and they put it in California. But it is a legit, that is how big an earthquake can be, and the tsunami and all of that. But what they do that I love is they actually teach real disaster science in it. The main hero, forget The Rock, he's not that important in this. The main hero of it is this brunette girl who saves lives and charms hearts through her knowledge of science and disaster preparedness. And she teaches real disaster preparedness. What do you do in an earthquake? What do you do in a tsunami? Ooh, so what bothers really me in sci-fi isn't when we make up facts to fit our stories. Story comes first. This is about entertainment. It's not a documentary. What bothers me is when we teach things that will kill people, like bad caving practices.
Don't learn spelunking from Enterprise.
Like apparently
absolutely no.
Watch the descent.
It's already a hard enough sport that has a high enough death rate. And often a very tragic death rate as people go in to try and rescue their friends, and then they also run into problems, as we can see happening in this episode. But like, you can do a little bit, like, there's a reason you use headlamps in caving instead of big things, is because you have farther depth of light penetration. So like the looking down and having it disappear into darkness, that's in part because they're using big old floodlights on there instead of having a nice penetrating single focus light that would give them greater depth and be able to see more than a few hundred meters. Like, you don't need it to be ominous.
Well, it's not like huge. It's actually not a huge floodlight. It is kind of a pin light, but it's on like a bendy stick that's attached to their backpack, so they can move it
just so they can
and
hit their heads on things more often. Break the light better.
It was weird to me because you're going to be in a limited space, but you're adding height to yourself. But I guess they can like move it down and move around and stuff.
They love to have, I mean, even their regular flashlights are weird. They're
true.
like weird globe things. I just think they're like, it's the future. It can't look normal. Yeah. Even if the thing we have today is the thing that would make sense, they have to like make it look all future-y.
Okay, so let's instead do that. Since it's always easy to really criticize them, and I have been kind of harsh so far, let's give them a legitimate reason to do this, which is if you've got, say, a head beam, then you have to constantly look down at your feet to see tripping hazards. If instead you've got a little bit of an area of effect thing going on, not only do you can actually illuminate your actor's face instead of having a glaring light in their forehead, the practical problem with doing headlamps, but also they would be able to see their feet better, which, given their story so far, they need all the help they can get to not trip.
Little sidebar here. I was wondering about this, and I just checked. Yes, in Strange New Worlds, when they're wearing their tactical suits, they do have little shoulder lights. They have lights on their shoulders.
They've got the little shoulder ones, the little tiny one.
Okay, so they are sliding down this hill, bumping around, flailing. Travis is trying to stop, and basically the little hill ends and just there's a drop off. So they slide, and as the ledge ends, Malcolm just falls right off. Trip also falls right off. So they're both free. Travis, who's a little behind them, he manages to stick his foot into a little ledge and stop, but very suddenly. So he screams in pain, but he holds. So now Malcolm and Trip are dangling free, and all that's holding them up is Travis wedged in with clearly an injured leg. They are too heavy for Travis to just pull them out, and he's just having a hard time holding the rope. The guys are like swinging and trying to get footholds, and Travis is just holding the rope in his hand, and he just can't hold it very much longer. And they are like trying to swing together to gain momentum to get to the wall. And they 1, 2, 3, but as they're counting down, which why are you counting down? It's not necessary, I don't think. But as they're counting down, Travis loses his grip and they slip out of his hands, but it worked just in the nick of time. Trip manages to get an anchor into a hole and gets a foothold and stabilizes himself. Malcolm just flailing and hanging and screaming, like still screaming.
And now that I think about it, these three that went, I understand Travis going. I guess I could possibly understand Malcolm just because he's security. I don't know how much this is security, but still. Why did they send their chief engineer on this mission?
Who else are they getting?
Why is Trip the chief engineer?
Okay, I could justify this. Not well, but that's not the point. So, when you're dealing with rocks, you can have the science branch of things or you can have the engineering branch of things. And the science branch of things is how do things form? What's the past history? The storytelling aspect of things. The engineering half is things like, will this rock fall on my head? And what do I need to do to prevent that from happening? So if we take the basic philosophy of all science, like any scientist is all scientists, and one engineer is all engineers, he is along with being
a warp drive engineer. Like
a warp drive engineer is essentially able to work with materials science, right? Because we're dealing with space and time and with like hot fluids moving fast. We're dealing with large amounts of forces and propulsion. Okay, all of those things apply to landslides and rock falls, especially because the rocks falling down under gravity is surprisingly complicated. You're dealing with stress and pressure of a cave system where little disruptions can cause the entire cave roof to collapse. And you've got the fluid flow of not just the fluids that formed the tunnels in the first place. So, you know, maybe he's got good intuition on where the caves will be getting bigger or smaller, but also air is essentially a fluid under pressure. And if we've got some rock falls happening, then maybe he'll be able to predict where they'd be blasted out of the tunnel, aka some like the Northridge disaster and other huge mining disasters like send people flying through the air and were horrendously deadly. So yes, you want an engineer. Clearly, he is a geological engineer as one of his many hats. We just haven't heard about it before, but that's why he's involved in this. Not just any geological engineer, but like a mining technical engineer specializing in tunnel systems.
I'm sure the writers of the show thought of all of that. When they had Trip be in this episode.
Particularly since Trip does none of those things.
I mean, what I love is like, I couldn't remember who any of these characters were by name. So I had to like check the photos as we were talking and being like, oh, because I kept thinking that Travis was Trip.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're T names, right?
Because they have the same name practically. Yeah.
And I was being like, but wait, the engineer, he didn't grow up on a cargo ship that I remember. He was like the frilly city boy?
Florida boy.
So I was trying to reconcile those things. But no, we just have to have like, they look very similar for Malcolm and Trip.
Oh, yeah.
We've got Travis and Trip have very similar names. We just want to kind of jumble them all together and no one quite remembered. Just throw them in a cave, see who comes out. At least one coming out counts as all of them.
Well, they managed to get back up to Travis. They're checking on his injuries, and it's rough. His leg is broken. He has a couple of torn ligaments, but he wants to keep going.
Travis always gets injured. I feel so bad. This is like, he's always getting injured.
So he tells him to just give him something for the pain, which Trip does, but he also tells him that he's absolutely not coming down with them. Travis protests, but Malcolm explains that they're already behind schedule and Travis will slow them down.
And anyway, we have another Travis back on the ship in cold storage.
They're like, I'm sorry, Anthony Montgomery, you have had your 3 lines per the episode. We're done with you for now. We're leaving you behind. We need only white men from here on forward.
This is the point of the episode where Travis gets injured and the white people continue on without him.
Of course.
Like, you don't want to put people in greater danger, but also, like, one of the core philosophical concepts of first response is that you take care of yourself before helping others. You put on your own oxygen mask before helping others. During like big emergencies, you take care of your family, then you go respond to whatever the disaster is. That if you are busy helping people, you do not put yourself in more danger to do it, because then all you do is create more casualties. Okay, so we shouldn't bring the injured person along. That's good strategy. But we should not leave him alone, and we should not have anybody else going alone. So we've got a 3-person party that has just magically turned into a 1 and a 2-person party, which no matter how you divide that, does not follow good practice. And we're also going to leave the only person with like knowledge and experience with apparently mountain climbing, which is now splunking, interchangeable. We're going to leave the only person with experience behind.
Right, because and Travis does grudgingly agree to stay because that is the format of this show, apparently. Trip tells him not to worry, that he'll be all right. And Travis says, respectfully, sir, I'm not worried about me.
Good.
Everybody laughs, but he is not wrong, because you've got Trip and you've got Flaley Malcolm. Like, these guys' odds are not good. All right, it is time to check in on the Phlox-traversy.
About that.
Phlox is in sickbay checking readings on a sleeping Hudak. He's holding a glowy device over him, and Hudak wakes up and kind of shies away, asking what he's doing. Phlox says he's just checking his biosigns, nothing else. He then tries to engage with the Antaran. And like, there are some really good scenes in here with Phlox and the Antaran, but they're all dialogue based. So I'm not going to, because the only way to explain them is to go word for word. So I'm just going to summarize, and y'all will enjoy these scenes when you actually watch them. So Phlox tries to engage. Hudak won't give him anything but sarcasm. He tries to find common ground. Hudak's not having any of it. Phlox tells Hudak that he just wants to help him. He's confident the procedure will be successful. And Hudak says, oh, he must be very familiar with his biology after the procedures that the Denobulan doctors performed on Antarans.
Okay, that I believe.
Yeah, me too. Phlox gets mad and he storms away. He goes to a terminal on the other side of the room, and Hudak just yells after him across the room.
Phlox is angry. I've never seen Phlox angry.
And Hudak yells, did you grow up listening to stories of the evil Antarans? Did they give you nightmares? Phlox says he could ask the same of Hudak. Hudak asks if Phlox has children and if he tells them those same stories. Phlox says his children have nothing to do with it. And the Antaran asks, if they were here right now, what would they think of their father trying to save the life of an Antaran? And Phlox finally snaps. He tells Hudak he has tried to treat him with respect, but he refuses to listen to these insults. He says that Hudak is the reason that this hatred keeps going, because he refuses to put the past behind him. He says no Denobulan would want to be in the same room as an Antaran, and he storms out. Jamie, this is the angriest we've ever seen Phlox.
Yeah, I mean,
never seen him.
Phlox is a character that doesn't get angry, but I feel like that's what makes it effective when he does. Good. We've talked about Archer gets angry all the time, and then when he has a really good reason to be angry, we're just like, oh, Archer's angry again. But if you have a character where you save those moments for when they matter, then the impact's higher.
Yep. So next scene, mess hall. T'Pol walks in, she's reading her pad as usual, goes to get her tea as usual. And she notices Phlox sitting alone at a table and walks over, asking if she can join him. Once again, T'Pol the Vulcan being the most emotionally competent person on this show. Yep. Phlox actually says he's not in the mood for company. And
wow, does not sound like Phlox.
And T'Pol nods and starts to walk off, but Phlox calls her back and apologizes and tells her to sit. He is eating some sort of, it looks like something chocolate, like chocolate pudding or something, but hard to tell. T'Pol asks how his patient is, and Phlox says, dying, but that seems to be his wish. She says that that's unfortunate, and Phlox says he's had patients refuse treatment before, usually in the final stages of an illness, but this man just seems to be determined to die to prove a point. He says that as painful as it is to admit, he understands this. When she looks surprised, Phlox tells a story. When he was a kid, he wanted to take a trip to a nearby planet that had lots of beautiful vegetation and exotic animals. So, of course, Kid Phlox was all over that. He and some friends had been planning the trip for months, but a week before they were scheduled to leave, one of Phlox's grandmothers took him aside and told him he couldn't go because Antarans had lived on that planet once. not currently, just at some point in the past.
Wow.
And in her mind, that had tainted the whole planet.
Wow. Okay, weird.
T'Pol asks if he went, and he says that he didn't. But when he had kids of his own, he took them there. And he was determined not to continue the cycle of how he was raised. T'Pol says his kids are fortunate to have had a father who taught them to embrace other cultures. And Phlox says he certainly tried. And then Phlox starts to tear up. When T'Pol asks if he's okay.
Sorry, I love this so much.
It's so good, you guys.
Have you ever said that?
On
the show ever?
Never said that. John Billingsley is so good. So he starts to tear up, and when T'Pol asks if he's okay, he thanks her for her company and quickly leaves. Phlox is all over the place emotionally this week. It's wild. It's constantly like, what is going on with him? Something is very wrong. But it's time to check in with the cavemen.
What an apt description for those two.
Yeah. So Trip and Malcolm are now crawling through a tunnel. So they're on kind of hands and knees, crawling through the tunnel, questioning whether it's the right way to go. It's a tight squeeze. And just as Trip is talking about giving up, Malcolm's scanner beeps. They're picking up 3 Denobulan biosigns just ahead. They continue through the tunnel and finally come out in a big open cavern where they find the Denobulan scientists looking at their rocks. There's the big old cavern. There's lots of equipment.
They've made
lots
the rocks.
of lights.
They made the crystals into a giant crown that they're passing.
Wait, I have a question because I've already forgotten the beginning of this episode. These Denobulans, was it just that nobody could contact them to tell them? So they're just like doing their science. So it's not like they got stuck and needed help.
No.
Okay.
They just needed to get them out of there so that they can take them off planet, because if they get found, the military government will kill them or imprison them.
I have a quick question. How is anybody expecting to get out now that they have like no rope down from the place they all fell? Yeah. And why didn't the scientists leave a rope behind on any of these vertical chunks? And that our team has broken any of the ledges they've had.
We're about to find out.
Some of these questions will be answered.
Spider-Man Denobulan.
They really don't need rescuing.
I really hope we get to Spider-Man Denobulans. Sorry, Spiders man.
And to be fair, they do seem to have a lot of equipment, so I think they may have extra rope and stuff like that. But yes, I don't know what their plan is to get back. But Trip and Malcolm happily introduce themselves. They explain what's going on and that the Denobulan Science Academy sent them. The geologists point blank refuse. Even when they're told about the political situation, they have no interest in leaving. They just go back. They literally just go back to their work as we go to the next commercial.
That sounds like quite a few scientists I know.
So the entire thing was to play messenger. Why at no point did we just, I don't know, set up a relay inside the cave and just try blasting radio? Like, I know that you have to be vaguely close, but like on any of these ledges, just drop something down, send a big wide blast, wait. Or do we send like a little robot at some point? Just, why do we need to do a human to human, it's not human to human because they're all aliens here. Well,
it is a truth universally acknowledged that in the future, humanity will be able to fly faster than the speed of light, but radio waves cannot penetrate rock walls.
And that we can't use robots.
Nothing.
We can't use drones. We can't use a little radio transmitter on a Roomba.
None of those things will work.
Nobody spins a wire down
or have a little Sphero put a little radio. It doesn't even need to be a radio transmitter. You just need a homing pigeon.
Transporters, communicators, cave walls, block them dead.
The only solution to this problem, Mika, is to send 2 inexperienced white men down to save them.
The only way.
The only way.
It's kind of like that scene in Prometheus where they literally have a flying robot that maps the entire space that they're in, and then they get lost.
Yeah. So Trip and Malcolm are now arguing with the scientists who are still refusing to leave or take them even vaguely seriously. They say that if the Denobulan Science Academy knew the progress they were making, they would never have sent them. Trip explains the Xanthorans will imprison or execute them, and they say that it's all the more reason to stay down in the caves where it's safe. They say the governments change hands so often, it'll be fine. By the time they're done, it'll be a new government. Won't be a problem.
Oh, I like this.
Valid.
But how much food did they bring down there with them?
What we have not brought up is that they eat the various cave grubs as well. I mean, there is quite a bit of life underground.
Fair. And I can see the Denobulans doing that for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, if all else fails, you can eat like the bacteria that lives inside of rock.
And 2 new sources of food just walked into their camp.
Exactly. Delicious. This is why we
What
have to
happened to our
send
crew? I
actual
don't know.
living
We never found them.
Trip tells them that they can't risk their lives for rocks. And here is what this impassioned geologist says. Rocks, this is the most remarkable collection of speleothems we've ever seen. There's calcite, aragonite, botryoidal flowstone. I've spent 14 years searching for tractosites this perfect. These samples could provide clues to prevent seismic disasters on Denobula. Mika, can you please translate that for us and tell them that if that means anything and if you would risk your life for this?
Well, to start with, I'll say that there's really literally no rock on the any planet worth risking your life for. And this is why I moved from volcanology to landslides, because volcanologists had a disturbingly high death rate because they keep insisting on going in person instead of sending robots. That has changed in recent decades. We haven't had like a big death rate of volcanologists for a long time, so the field has improved. Nice. But no, there's nothing. There's nothing you can get. We send rovers to other planets to collect rocks for us, and they can do a really good analysis for us. Like, the only part you need, aliens or humans, would have better dexterity and rock selection, but otherwise, robots. Robots are amazing. But, okay, you can learn a lot from caves and from speleotherms, which is stalactites and stalagmites, but who cares if they're coming from above or below? Because when they form, it's dripstones. You get layers and layers and layers. It's like tree rings where you get things.
Right.
And then the proportion of calcite to aragonite is really interesting. So those are chemically the exact same thing. And you would know them from seashells. Calcite is the dull bit on the outside, and aragonite is the shiny bit on the inside.
Shiny bit on the inside.
And you get different proportions of them depending on the water temperature. So which one you get more formation of will depend on how warm the water is. And then you can also get things like they incorporate oxygen into their crystal structure, so that can tell you about the atmosphere of the time. So suddenly you're getting temperature and climate. So you're getting paleoclimate studies from speleothems. We love them. They're fantastic. The botryoidal flowstone bit, that just means the shape of them. They're wibbly. They're like oozy bits. It's like the elephant foot. It's like that shape to it is something oozing instead of being spiky. Whatever. Right. Who cares? That bit doesn't tell you anything fun. Yeah, it's globby. Apparently they just have a preference for blobby over pointy, and I feel like we just learned about their sexual preferences there. Like, I feel like we should know less about each other with that particular line. But getting any single point record is useless. Like, you can't really extrapolate from one cave. You can get something from one cave and then you go to another cave and you get things, and you go to another cave and you get things, and you try and get things of different ages, because it's a point source of data. It tells you a very small, limited thing about one location and only the time period where they were forming. Quick check. Is this cave shiny or dull? Like, if it's shiny, it's still forming. So you've also got like the risk of, I don't know, suddenly having water fill everything up too. And if it's dull, then it's been done for a while. So not only is it a point thing, but it's a point thing from the past that is no longer true. And all of this is just telling you about how this particular planet formed and about its climate history. What about that could be so important? Is this planet vitally important to understand its climate evolution over time?
Back.
So it's not shiny. And they specifically say that the samples could provide clues to prevent seismic disasters on Denobula. That's their...
No.
That was my big question.
No. Okay. So, all right. Why do you have anything seismic? Why do you have earthquakes? That is going to require plate tectonics. That is going to require two plates moving past each other. On Earth, they move at about the rate your fingernails grow. So every time you trim your nails, think we're that much closer to the next big earthquake.
Oh, so I should stop trimming my nails then.
Clearly, that will prevent earthquakes. Except for then that means you have more stress build up and the next earthquake will be bigger. So, like, the Pacific Northwest, we have lots of little tremors. We have these itsy bitsy teeny tiny earthquakes that you can't even feel, like hundreds of them that happen in just over a year repetition cycle. We have no idea why, but that slow grinding is the plates moving past each other and might slow down how often we get our huge, enormous earthquakes. You can have earthquakes for other reasons. On Mars, there are no active plate tectonics, and no signs of plate tectonics in the past. They've got the solar system's largest volcano, and that's a hotspot volcano like Hawaii is, and it's all in one place, which means the plate did not move over the hotspot. It just kept building Olympus Mons in one place bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, as opposed to here on Earth, where the Pacific plates moved and you got like the Emperor Hawaii volcano chain as that candle was underneath the plate, melting it and moving it along.
Is that why Mars can have such big mountains?
Yeah.
That we don't get on Earth? Oh, that's so interesting.
The reason the volcano is so big is because it was all in one place.
Yeah.
And also the gravity is lower, so you have less things pulling it down. And also you have less weathering, so like you don't have waves eroding the mountain as it goes, and your windstorms happen, but they are lower gravity, thinner air, less powerful. So it builds up bigger and takes longer to fall apart. But we get earthquakes on Mars, and we know this because we stuck a little geophysicist robot on there. The very first seismometer we put on there was actually on the top of the robot, and it was really, really good at monitoring the wind. But the second one, Mars Insight, they put the seismometer on the ground, and it did measure earthquakes. And those earthquakes were from meteorites smashing into the planet. It was from the entire planet getting colder and contracting and just like shrinking down little bits. And it was from like dimples of weight, like if you lean on a car hood and pop it down. So those are the ways you get non-plate tectonic earthquakes. And those are all clearly really, really small. We have some of them on Earth. If you hear about like an earthquake in Washington, D.C., it's one of these like plate dimple earthquakes. They're upsetting and disturbing because the buildings are not built for the earthquake. So like you have brick falling down and killing somebody. But they're not like hugely devastating amounts of shaking because there's just not much happening. So if we want to have seismic hazards that are a problem enough to care about coming up with the science to reduce them, it's going to be from plate tectonics. Plate tectonics has absolutely nothing to do with climate. Like there is nothing about climate history that impacts plate tectonics. We have maybe things like the amount of water along a plate tectonic boundary might change how often you get earthquakes. Maybe, maybe not.
But could it be that Denobula doesn't have plate tectonics, and so
in
it's
which
a
case,
different...
the earthquakes will be tiny little blips.
Oh, and
like,
it wouldn't matter.
Also, this is not the same planet as Denobula, so whatever they learn there, even if it has something to do with the climate, learning about the climate of this totally different planet,
right? And
how are they going to learn something about Denobula?
To have nice, stable clay caves over a long period of time, you cannot be having an active fault line nearby, having a lot of earthquakes, because if you did, the cave would fall down. But we've already established these speleotherms are dull, so it is a long-term stable cave, so it is not in a tectonically active area. So anything you learn about the climate history there will not tell you about tectonics.
I'm so happy that this wonderful conversation came out of the fact that Star Trek Enterprise's science is absolute nonsense.
Yes.
Well, I mean, like, I hesitate saying this because there are real scientists who get involved, right?
Oh, I understand.
And
I'm not criticizing Star Trek as an not Star Trek. I'm criticizing Enterprise's writing specifically. I think we're past this point now, but Jamie has brought it before, like specifically when they did this show, they did not bring in Star Trek writers or people who knew Star Trek. They brought on, 90210? And
they brought people
Melrose Place writers.
Baywatch.
To write this show.
Yep.
Oh, boy. The scientists, all men, the geologists.
One woman.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Hey, all
that's
right.
exciting.
And I do
There's
want to
a
point
link.
out they are cave scientists if they're caring about speleotherms, which I always thought was like, really? We're not going for a fancier word when we're looking at
They are
paleoclimatology and
so-
speleotherms?
That is the one word they use more than anything else. They just talk. They're so excited about their speleotherms.
It would have been so better if they'd glossed it up like quantum speleotherms or something like that. They'd spaced it up.
But they tell the guys they can't possibly leave, and they still need 2 to 3 weeks. And Trip loses his goddamn mind.
Yeah, are they doing their full
And
analysis
rightfully
on the
so.
plant, like in the cave?
That's what
Do
it-
they have a full geochem setup? Why don't they take their rocks with them?
They do have a lot of equipment. Anyway, Trip tells them that he has an injured man waiting for them. The Xanthorans are on their asses, and it's an extremely hard climb ahead. And he said, yes, as a matter of fact, he can force them, and that one way or the other, they're leaving, even if he has to tie them up and drag them out.
I mean, just leave them. Like the whole point of this was to give them the message. You gave them the message. If they want to stay, like just get out. Just leave these guys behind.
Sort of really
Technically,
don't
his
have any
mission-
authority over
Technically, his
these guys.
mission from the Denobulan Science Academy was to get them out. It was to extract them.
Yeah, but
like,
we don't have to listen to them.
Well,
Acting on the field, again, being able to respond to your changing conditions is why you send a person instead of a robot. Like, that would be the argument to have a person, is to adapt to changing conditions. But, like, if they brought all this equipment in, they can bring that weight and volume of rock out again, which I guarantee is more rocks than we have from the Apollo mission, which is enough to give us a very solid understanding of the history of the moon. I'm also very certain that, based on the description of the equipment, that is more rock than we have, say, gotten and collected and analyzed on all of Mars from all of our missions, and we're still able to understand more about it. It is definitely more than the rock samples collected and analyzed on Venus, because the only rock sample we managed to get was actually of the camera lens cap. So everything we know about Venus was from pictures. Like,
oh my God.
Let's be honest, Trip and Malcolm are not getting out of here alive without these scientists helping them out. So
That's
maybe
a good
that's
point.
the issue.
That is a good point.
we're on a one-way trip in. We need the assistance to get out, especially if, you know, they can be carried.
Well, the scientists grumble, but they do finally agree, and they tell them that there are a lot of samples that they need to bring with them, and they will need help packing. And the guys are like, sure, yeah, manual labor after falling into a cave, whatever, let's just go.
They barely made it in, and now they have to carry all these rocks out.
I'm still caught up on the idea of, like, the relationship between tectonics and climate goes the other way. Tectonics influences climate. You get, like, plate tectonic motion will tell you what sort of volcanoes you have. That's why I was saying Mars has the same type of volcanoes as Hawaii is, because it's like, it's oceanic plate. It's from a hot spot. We know a lot about it just from the shape of the volcano. If you have somewhere that's like, somewhere has a lot of earthquakes, you're going to get much pointier volcanoes. And there's some basic chemistry behind that that is independent of the planets you are on. Like, that is going to be universal truth. If you can see the shape of the volcano, you know what the chemistry of the volcano is.
Right.
And that those eruptions will then shift climate. And that shift in climate will confirm that you had tectonic movement happening. Like, we know things that we know, the really big eruptions that cause the high ash layers and, like, the little mini ice age, like, that's recorded in speleotherms. It tells us about that tectonic activity. It is a one-way path on the directions there.
Not going to help you prevent seismic
Yeah, it's not
activity.
going the other way. And not only that, but, like, do we have life forms on this planet?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got life on this planet.
There's a whole population on the planet.
So rocks evolve. If you're on the moon, there's only a very limited number of minerals that you have. It's a very small set. And then you add water and you get a bunch more minerals. You add air, you get a whole bunch more minerals. You get life, you have like a crazy huge number of minerals. And like we've found about 6,000 minerals so far. When I was going through school, it was like 4,000 minerals. We're finding a lot of them. But there's way more than that, theoretically speaking. You could find a lot more ridiculous minerals that don't exist on Earth, because the exact combination of composition and crystal structure and formation conditions, like, there's all sorts of minerals that exist in exactly one place. So that would be something that you could be excited about, being like, there's an all new mineral here. And it's true. I would expect to find cool alien mineral evolution happening on other planets. I would expect to be really excited by the shiny crystal bits and being like, we've got something cool. We've never seen this before. And like, if you did, I would be so up for like turning it around and seeing if you get like the color change happening that tells you about like the polarizing light. I would expect with the basic survival mechanisms of all of the people involved in this, I'd expect some people to be tasting things to figure out grit size, texture, flavors, all of that.
Right.
I mean, there's some cool minerals where you break them and they stink. Like, there's all sorts of really cool stuff you could do. But the formation of speleotherms, that's not going to give it to you.
I love that you're like reverse science advising for this show. That is like where you're like, no. If all you had them say was they like discovered some cool new mineral with like some neat properties, like it would make sense. You could have this whole plot.
That's so annoying.
Yeah, I said before, I get annoyed when they teach dangerous misinformation about things that will like get people killed. That bothers me on like a fundamental level. I think that TV and movies are an amazing opportunity for subversive education. But it bothers me even more, not when the science is wrong, but when it could be right so easily.
This does happen a lot on the show, though, to be fair.
Yeah, like in this one, I'm like losing it over speleotherms and tectonics as opposed to like, hey, we found a new mineral. Like science consultants are so cheap.
Yeah.
Like it's a few $100. It's nothing in the scope of budgets for these shows. And you could have something that feeds in. So you could have an amazing opportunity to talk mineral evolution here. You could talk about some cool crystal structures. You could throw so much sci-fi in there because there's like so much we have no idea about where we're like, whatever. Throw it in. Make things up. Great. But no, we're going to have the wrong direction on tectonics and climate, and I'm going to be annoyed for the rest of the episode.
These researchers Googled top geology words and then stuck them in a sentence.
That's what happened.
Like, here we go.
That's exactly what happened. All right. Sorry, this is super interesting, and I could talk about this all day. But
I'm sorry, I just got very ranty there.
We have a lot more to go through. So,
geez, I thought we were near the end.
Yeah, well, we're
getting there.
We're getting there.
Okay.
So, back in Enterprise, in sickbay, Phlox is again checking Hudak's biosigns with this little glowy device, but Hudak pushes it away and says that he prefers to spend his last few days alone. Phlox shrugs and says that's his decision, but based on what he knows about the Antaran lifespan, his last days won't come for about 60 years. And Hudak looks confused, and Phlox says, but once he performs the intracellular regeneration, he'll be fine. Hudak reiterates that he refused treatment, but Phlox just ignores him and reaches over to like one of the medical devices connected to him. He says he has to take him off the pain medication to start the procedure, which sounds opposite, but
yeah.
It's that jolt of adrenaline to like bridge the gap in medical support.
Yeah.
Either that or he wants to get a bit of revenge.
Yeah, Phlox is like, I'm just going to take you off this. But we go into another great scene between Hudak and Phlox. Hudak tells Phlox to get away from him, and he asks if Denobulan ethics don't apply to Antarans. Phlox says, I did have nightmares, and the guy's confused. And Phlox says that Hudak had asked if he'd had nightmares about the Antarans, and the answer was that he did. He says his grandmother lived through the war and told him horrible stories which gave him nightmares. He also tells Hudak that he does have kids, 5 in fact, and that he never told them his grandmother's stories. When they asked about the Antarans, he told them the truth as best as he knew it about the military campaigns against the Antarans and how they had demonized them. He wanted them to learn to judge people for who they are, not what the propaganda tells them. He says he's proud that his kids would consider his grandmother's attitude archaic. All of them but one. And Phlox explains that although attitudes have changed considerably, there are still Denobulans who fear and hate Antarans. Phlox's youngest son, Metis, was seduced by those people, and he wouldn't listen when Phlox tried to convince him.
Yeah, so this is, Phlox has mentioned that he has a son he's estranged from, right?
That is right. So we finally get the reason for that.
Huh.
Ooh, radicalized.
It created a rift between them because Phlox said he would not tolerate those values in his presence. Basically, it sounds like Metis went MAGA. Phlox says he worries that he didn't do enough to reach him, but they haven't spoken in nearly a decade. Hudak had asked what Phlox's kids would think about the situation, and Phlox says he knows what Metis would think. He'd be happy to have Phlox grant his request and let Hudak die. but that's not the example he chose to set for his children. And he says, why not live and set an example for yours? And the Antaran finally has no snarky retort. You guys, there's still more than 10 minutes to go. There's so much happens in this. Cave time. Everybody is now crawling through the tunnel. The scientists are up ahead. The guys are behind. They're dragging shit behind them, and it's tough. They're clearly struggling. The scientist at the front stops and starts looking into a little hole, and Trip is behind him going, what are you doing? And he's like, are you looking for rocks? Are you putting up more rocks? He yells at him to keep going, but the scientist insists on pulling out yet another box of rock samples. And Trip yells at him again and says they can't carry any more rock samples. The scientist says it took them 6 weeks to extract them from the rock bed. Trip threatens to shoot him in the butt. And as they're arguing, stuff starts shaking and something above seems to be exploding. Rubble starts falling on them. They start to rush through to get to the bottom of the cliff that they had rappelled down.
It's not a cave, it's the throat of a giant monster.
I'm still confused how it takes 6 months to get out of rock. You don't take 6 months to get out of fossil.
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Not 6 weeks.
Even so, you can do fossils faster than that. Like, they're really incompetent at their jobs.
Yeah, well...
The fix for all the problems you have with this episode is that these guys don't know what they're doing.
Well, that's true.
First year geo students.
Show. Nobody knows what they're doing on the show.
They're bad at their jobs.
Right.
You know what? Geology interns have to learn sometime. Usually you send a more experienced person with them, but if you're overwhelmed, you do send like little new baby geos out in the field on their own.
What are you going to do? Hurt a rock?
Yeah.
Definitely, that's something you do with your students you don't want back again, but nobody said, they're not seeming very likable right now. This does seem one way of managing your workforce.
They're at the bottom of this cliff. Trip tells everyone to get their climbing gear on, but the Denobulans say they have no climbing gear. They just free climb down and they'll free climb back up again.
Yes.
Oh, wait, so they're free climbing. It's not like they have suction cups on their hands. Like, okay.
As one of them starts to climb, though, this huge stalagmite, I think, falls down on top of, it's basically big pointy rock, falls down on top of them. They barely avoid it, so they have to get moving. Up on the Enterprise, Archer is yelling at the governor of the planet, wanting to know why one of their patrols have started firing in the vicinity of the caves where his people are. So that's what the explosions and stuff were, and the earthquakes. Even though that this general order doesn't go into effect for another 90 minutes. The governor says they're targeting rebels, not Archer's people, and he doesn't really care if they become collateral damage. Still on mic, Archer tells T'Pol to target the patrol firing at the caves. The governor says that if they attack, the patrol will retaliate. T'Pol says they're locked on to the coordinates, and Archer tells her to charge weapons. The governor asks if he really wants to be at war with them, and Archer replies, do you really want to be at war with Earth, bitch? Because this is Archer's sweet spot, right? He tells them to stick to the original agreement or he'll be fighting on two fronts.
Archer cannot back this up. Like, what? He's like, oh, you're going to go to war with Earth. Earth has one ship that can get out there, and it's taken like a year and a half. So
Yeah.
there is no way that the humans could possibly go to war against.
I
They
think,
didn't say they'd
to flip
win
it,
the war.
I think that's the advantage he has, is that this shithole planet with a government that just flip sides can't really attack Earth. They can only attack this one ship, and maybe this is actually a situation where the Enterprise is more powerful than their patrol ships. But he's also bluffing.
He's
certainly
he's bluffing,
clearly a
but
bluff.
He's doing what he does best, right? He's being aggressive in order to get what he wants. All right. Back in the cave, Trip and Malcolm are huffing and puffing up the wall, but the Denobulans literally Spider-Man right up past them. Like, I don't know if they have suction cups on their hands, but it looks like, it looks like Spider-Man.
Gecko fingers with the little tiny
Sure,
hooks.
that makes...
Yeah.
Okay, well that's obviously different than free climbing, I would think.
They're not free climbing. They look to me like they were just...
How's Travis doing? He's down a leg.
And they do when the bombs started going off, and there was a scene where we see Travis and he kind of has to crouch over, but the Denobulans get up to the top and they yell down that the bombing seems to have stopped. So whatever Archer did worked. In sickbay, Hudak has asked to see Phlox. He tells them that what he said about his son really got to him, and he wishes more Denobulans felt that way. Phlox tells him that many do, and he would find that out if he met more of them. And Hudak says that seems unlikely, but that Phlox made him think of his own family. He also has kids, and he does want the treatment. Okay, we are almost out of the cave.
Thank God.
They are at the top of the hole, basically. Malcolm and Trip are hauling Travis up. They have him harnessed, and they're just hauling him up.
Okay.
Travis is holding on to like 5 rock sample boxes. I mean, clearly in a whole lot of pain, but he is holding them. They get him to the top, but one of the boxes falls, and the scientist goes, "My speleum!"
Gotta go back down.
Trip tells him to forget about it, and the scientist says it's fine. He has more in his case. There is so much rock drama in this case. Like, they are obsessed with their samples, which sounds like that might be legit.
Yeah. I mean, it is fair that every geoscientist, you're responsible for carrying out your own rocks, so you know your carrying capacity very, very, very well of how much weight you can carry and how much space you have. And what you can jettison in order to carry more rocks. Like, you've got the carrying capacity of your food and water in. You don't need to carry it back out. Get rid of it all. It's fine. In this case, It sounds like possibly leave your waste products behind to be a new mini ecosystem completely disrupting the caves for the future.
And, these other 3 people showed up. We can have them also carry our rocks for us.
Right,
and
that's
have
exactly
extra
right.
Rocks.
Extra rocks.
Exactly. That's how my children treat me with my pockets. I am clearly a rock transportation device.
So, back on the bridge, Hoshi is desperately trying to get in touch with the away team, but there's no response. Archer is stressed because they are out of time. He tells to Paul to prep Shuttle Pod 1, and he is getting ready to go down to the planet himself with the security team, in spite of the fact that the Xanthorans will certainly fire on him. Also, he tells her to prep Shuttle Pod 1, which means the guys didn't go down on Shuttle Pod 1, which is weird.
They're all
to
Shuttle
me.
Pod 1.
They have 2 Shuttle Pods.
This is the 17th Shuttle Pod 1 they've burned through. They're just all called Shuttle Pod 1.
It's whatever one is first in line to go down next. It is not. It is a flexible number. So whichever one is the next one up on the docket is now in the number 1 position. And number 2, once it leaves, number 2 becomes number 1.
Or maybe it's like Air Force 1. If Archer is on it, but no, that's not true because he wasn't on that other one. So
I like imagining they have like 8 shuttles, but they're all Shuttle Pod 1.
It's so confusing, but we don't feel like we need to change it.
No, we've got it here. We've all gotten it wrong. They all have different names, but they're all phonetically pronounced 1. So there's like WHUN.
Archer's about to go back down to the planet, but just as he's about to leave, Trip comes in. The deadline passed 2 hours ago, but they have everyone on board the shuttle pod and are flying back. But T'Pol detects a patrol ship closing in on them, and they get fired at, but it's minimal damage, and they're just trying to scare them off. And as soon as the shuttle pod kind of breaks away from the planet, the patrol ship backs off. Archer is in sickbay checking in with Phlox. Hudak is out of surgery and coming out of the anesthesia. He'll be fine. Archer says that he's glad that Phlox definitely did not defy orders. He was not looking forward to throwing him in irons, he says. Archer asks how he convinced him, and Phlox tells him doctor-patient confidentiality. He says, "Of course, you could order me to tell you." And Archer gives him the, "why, you little scamp" look.
Yeah, doctor-patient confidentiality, like that time that he let Hoshi look at Malcolm's medical records so she could figure out what to make him for his birthday.
All right. Final scene. Archer is escorting Hudak to his transport. He apologizes for Phlox not being there, but he's tending to Travis. And Hudak says it's fine. They spent plenty of time together. He thanks Archer for his help, and Archer looks a bit uncomfortable. He explains that the 3 Denobulan geologists they rescued are also going to be on the same transport as Hudak. And Archer says he hopes that was not a problem. Mm-hmm. And Hudak asks if they know that he's going to be on the transport. Yeah. And Archer says he talked to them and they are willing if he is. The Antaran nods and Archer smiles and sees him off. No, wait, it was not the final scene. I lied. Sorry. Mm-hmm. There's one more scene in sickbay. Phlox is recording a message to Metis. He says that he knows it's been some time since he wrote and that it's unlikely that Metis will respond, but he said he had an experience recently that he had to tell Metis about. It opened a lot of wounds, but it changed something in him, and he hopes it might change something in Metis too. And you guys, I was 60% sure he was going to go, "You were right, kid. Those Antarans are the fucking worst." But he did not.
The smell.
And end of episode.
Hey.
You guys, this was a solid episode.
Yeah, this sounded good.
Yeah.
Well, the Phlox stuff sounded good.
Yeah, the Phlox stuff sounded good. I'm not sure about the caves.
The cave stuff was just entertaining, I guess. It was super fun. There were really 2 full plots. I wouldn't even call one a B plot. They were like 2 fully formed separate plots. I think this might be my favorite episode yet.
Really?
I'm shocked by this.
Kind of thinking,
and it has a cave in it.
I mean, it sounds like the cave is the B plot here because it's mostly about looking pretty and falling down things.
Yeah.
Whereas the other chunk, as opposed to having like nonsensical geology, we've got like actual legit social science. The way that you like overcome extremism is through person-to-person connections. Like the way you pull somebody back from a cult, the way you do that isn't by confronting them, it's by finding common ground with them. So like even in the final scene where he's reaching out to his estranged child, that's how you de-radicalize, and is actually useful modeling because, you know, there might be some families now that have some splits and lack of communication.
Exactly.
Yeah, like it has all the emotional heft is in that storyline and all the character development. Like I don't think these other 3 guys, I don't feel like there was any character development there other than Travis probably never going anywhere with those 2 men again.
Yeah, they're so bad. Yeah, like I said, there were certainly issues with it. It's not a perfect episode, but it was nothing that I couldn't really get past. 2 truths and a lie outcome. We do not learn what the Denobulan Science Academy thinks about time travel. Phlox does give Hoshi the tribble, and Denobulans can climb walls like Spider-Man.
Yeah, so I was the only one who lost.
Spider-Man.
No.
Spider-Man. Porthos good boy scale. How good of a boy was Porthos on this episode? No Porthos again. It has been a stupidly long time since we've seen Porthos.
I feel like that's why I originally got disengaged from watching it, was insufficient puppy time.
Yeah, that's right. No saucy section this week. It was all caves and med bay.
Hey, come on, making the bedrock. You have like comments on betrothal forms. We're finding out like when you talk rocks, it is an inherently dirty subject. You've got cleavage, you've got fracture, you've got lots of hot fluid flow. I mean, to have caves themselves, everybody is going like deeply penetrating into the ground. Don't undersell the dirtiness of geology.
All right. I stand corrected. There was some sexy geology in this. Never asked, never answered for something in this episode that made no sense and was never explained. So, I guess
I have opinions.
Yeah, there's a lot on the geology side for sure. I think I didn't quite understand the relationship with the Antarans and the Denobulans, the fact that these 2 races had never had contact with each other in 300 years. They hadn't even seen each other in 300 years.
I don't understand especially if you're out like exploring space, how you would never run into each other if presumably their home planets are like close enough that there were problems.
I don't know. It all just seemed strange to me that the hatred was that fresh, but also prejudice is a stupid thing. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that this could be the case, right?
But this is like my core fundamental problem with any form of space war is that the amount of resources necessary to go to war with each other is so far disproportional to the amount of resources available. There's just...
Right.
Why would an alien ever invade Earth? Getting to Earth would take so many more resources than you could possibly get from our entire solar system. There is nothing so unique about it that would be useful unless you have a taste for, you want to taste one of everything in the entire universe, like Darwin Club style, in which case you just need one of each human and one of each like gorilla and one of each asparagus. You don't need, like, even the full Darwin Club eating the entire...
That is the hierarchy, human, gorilla, asparagus.
And everybody needs to eat some, like,
So we translated the aliens' book that they left behind.
Exactly. Eat one of everything. Like, there's nothing worth an interstellar war. There's just... You cannot justify that as anything except for because we want to. So you have to have hate as the motivation. And hate is a really powerful motivation to last centuries and then all the resources necessary to do it. Like, you have to have that be your foundational building block of your economy, in which case you will not have enough other resources to develop everything else in order to sustain the interstellar war. It doesn't work.
Yeah. What's confusing too is everything we've seen of Denobulans. We've met Phlox. We've now met these geologists. I don't know.
I like the question mark. That's the only way to make it make sense.
We've met one of Phlox's wives. Like, we've met some Denobulans, and we've just heard lots of stories about Denobula from Phlox. And everything we've learned about Denobulans has been, they are just like curious, excited to meet other people, very open-minded.
Very chill.
And it's hard for me. Like, if this were even Vulcans, I could believe it a lot more. But like with the Denobulans, it's kind of almost hard to believe. But
I think that's sort of
there's so much about them. I guess we don't know.
That's why the Antarans went to war with Denobula. They wouldn't shut the fuck up during movies. In which case, I am on the Antaran side.
You could also have something like, so a culture on Earth that is well known for being just like happy-go-lucky, playful, all of that would be surfers, right? Like, your mental image of a surfer is they're hanging out on the beach all day, like going with the flow, quite literally, all of that.
Yeah.
But surfers are known for extreme territoriality. Like, and like there can be a lot of in-group, out-group dynamics. There can be a lot of viciousness in that. So you could take that same thing and go, okay, so this otherwise, like, superficially looks really playful, but when you look up closer is like vicious. Could be. Could be.
Yeah, maybe.
And I think that is actually why it works so well, is that it's so unexpected. It's so unlike anything we've ever seen from Phlox or Denobulans before. My next section is what the Phlox, which is what, the creepiest thing that Phlox said. John Billingsley just does an amazing job in this. And the guy who plays Hudak as well. It's very well put together. I think we covered technical difficulties with all of the geologies. But that was the primary thing. I was like, I don't understand any of this rock stuff. So thank you very much, Mika, for helping.
It wasn't you. If you also didn't understand the caving part, don't worry. That also wasn't you.
Yeah. Yes, chef. Any mention of chef or food? There was not. I mean, there was that one scene in the mess hall, but nothing was really other than whatever chocolate thing that Phlox was eating. There was mention of ration packs and poop, though. So, that was about it.
No, where is HR? We're not questioning.
Oh, I didn't
something
even
going on maybe in the cave. Or just, where's HR just like in this medical thing with like Archer ordering Phlox to break medical ethics? A little.
Yeah.
You should be able to refuse unsafe work.
I think that was text and not subtext. And I think that,
Yeah.
that's
I think
obviously.
And it's not so much where's HR, but as Mika said, like, the structure of the away team and leaving Travis alone isn't ideal.
They go down to the planet. Trip and Malcolm just go to a bar for a couple of days and say they couldn't find him.
We looked.
I noticed your rope is still in its plastic packaging. Oh, we bought rope while we were down there.
Well, I am looking forward to you guys seeing this.
Sounds fun.
All right. This is a segment of our show we like to call Will's Hollow Rex, brought to you by Eric TM. As we all know, William Riker is binging Enterprise in his holodeck, so this is the section where we each give our Rikermendations for non-Enterprise related content that we've been consuming in our personal holodecks this week. Mika, do you have a recommendation?
So I had the opportunity to watch Zootopia before it released, the new Zootopia. It is fantastically fun. Highly recommend going to see it. I got myself a fantastic ball gown to match the movie that makes me feel like a princess. I am going to be wearing it all of the time now. And I will say it did a really solid job of like couples therapy in there. So Zootopia coming out on Thanksgiving. And it's really fun.
Bill,
my recommendation this week is also a film. It is, I believe it's described as a video essay. It is a movie from 2003 called Los Angeles Plays Itself. It's a very unusual film. It's put together by Tom Anderson, and it is essentially a film about how Los Angeles is depicted in films and how that affects how people think about Los Angeles. And almost the entire movie is made up of clips from other movies.
Oh, neat.
So it's just a very fascinating. So if you've never been to Los Angeles, if you've never experienced how you think about the city and how the history of Los Angeles has been affected and malformed in some ways by the movies, Los Angeles plays itself.
Cool. Jamie, what you got?
So I have a video game that I've been playing. It is a dating simulator called Date Everything, where
I have seen you playing that on Discord.
where you are stuck in your house and you have magic glasses that turn all of the objects in your house into person-like versions of those objects, and then you try to get them to fall in love with you.
Fantastic.
So, yes, I am dating my sexy Russian desk Dasha and my Dorian, and it's very silly. There are a lot of puns, and it's really surprisingly fun. It's very, very silly and very fun, and highly recommend. It's called Date Everything.
Fantastic. My recommendation this week is a animated series called Bat Fam, which answers the question, what if Batman wasn't alone all the time and actually had a found family? It is great. There was a movie called Merry Little Batman, which came out in 2023, and it's sort of a follow-up to that, and this is a series. The idea is that Batman Bruce Wayne and his son, Damian Wayne, live together, and then all of these reformed villains start living with them as their housemates.
I love that.
Spectacular. And it's almost too sweet sometimes, but it's very not normal Batman, but really fantastic. And that is the episode. Thank you for listening. Next week, we will revisit this episode as a second contact and hear Bill and Jamie's thoughts on this once they have actually watched it. Mika, thank you so much for joining us. Please tell us where people can find you online and what you have to plug.
Well, you can find me in quite a bit of ridiculous sci-fi shows. I will very rarely be in the credits, but you'll find my handwriting. You can find me on various social media under my name, but most importantly, if you want to play with rocks and have a ridiculous fun time with them, every year I run something called Mineral Cup every September 1st, where we argue about what the best mineral is. And it's an argument on everything from which one is the prettiest to has the best characteristics. We've had everything win from magnetite, the magnetic mineral that you've probably run into in science shops, through to quetzalcoatlite, a little teeny tiny cyan blue spike ball only found in the waste piles of mining dumps. So we'll have our next one right now. The most recent winner was kyanite, a mineral that tells you about pretty under pressure and the formation history of rocks, and apparently would have actually been useful to these scientists because it does tell you about tectonic histories, and kyanite could possibly impact the stability of fault zones. We'll start again September 1st. It's all over on social media, or it's on mineralcup.net, I think. I don't know. Something.
I love imagining that the minerals are fighting each other.
Oh, it is. It is ridiculous. People draw us cartoons. They battle. They we talk about the physical properties of whether or not they can take each other out. It is absolutely as absurd as you can possibly imagine it, and you will accidentally learn way more geology than you anticipated.
Oh, that's so great.
Great.
Special thanks to our producer, K.O. Myers at Particulate Media, to our friend David for the beautiful cover art, and to John Stephen King for being the voice of our computer. If you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on your podcast app of choice and tell your friends about it. We really appreciate it. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook as Enterprise Splaining, and on Blue Sky as @EnterpriseSplain. You can also email us any comments or questions, such as, why was this episode called The Breach? To enterprisesplaining@gmail.com. Is that a character?
Oh, God. Do you suppose they just messed up?
I would like to say that, once again, geology is a really dirty science. Going into the breach is to
Oh, okay, into the breach. Okay.
Oh, I guess,
All right.
yeah,
Right.
so I guess that's...
I'll allow it. But
It's, again, we should know less about each other is the only way to interpret it.
If you want to support this podcast, you can find us at Buy Me a Coffee as Enterprise Splaining. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Computer. End program.
But like there's classic examples of this. Like the movie The Core, they've got people diving into the earth and then coming back up. And like the entire movie is just like completely ludicrous stuff about like flipping the tectonic field and everybody's gonna die, or the magnetic field and everyone's gonna die, even though the magnetic field has flipped countless times over the history of the earth. That we're not getting nearly enough auroras in that movie. You could make it so much more beautiful, but we've got like unobtainium. So I'm like, I will give you a lot of credit here. Apparently nukes are enough to have any impact on the like rotation of the core. Again, whatever, I'll roll with it. My point of contention with that movie, that I am holding a grudge literally decades later, is that they say they're coming up in a gap in the tectonic plates somewhere near Hawaii, which is the one place on planet Earth that is the absolute farthest from any tectonic boundary. You cannot get farther. It is impossible to get farther from a tectonic boundary. But there are volcanoes there, and they could have said, we're coming up at a hot spot somewhere near Hawaii. It's almost the same number of syllables, and it would have been right.
Okay.
And it's
all right.
Like, that's my problem with science in sci-fi, is when you could do it and have it make sense.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.